Hi, this is Jason, and welcome back to 2015, the year I got the runs. So as many of you know, I've been dealing with some foot pain from an injury I sustained, and like most guys, I still haven't gone to the doctor yet to get it looked at, but I have been going online to try to figure out different methods of maybe helping my foot while it heals. And one of the things I came across is a different way for me to tie my shoes to not only lessen the amount of constriction on my foot, which is what tends to make it hurt, but also a way to lock in my heel a little bit to keep my foot from sliding around in my shoe while I run. None of this is new information, but it's new to me. So I figured if it's new to me, there's a chance it's new to one of you and worth sharing. And as an added bonus, I'm going to be showing you this technique on my brand new, never worn, still in the box pair of Mizunos that I just picked up last week, and I'm truly excited to wear. I ended up having to take my Boston Boost back because they just constricted my foot a little bit too much. Had nothing to do with the shoes. They were great shoes. I loved them. But wearing them around the house with this injury I have, I needed to switch it up a bit. And that's when I ended up with these Mizunos. Let's take a look. In this first technique, I'm going to show you how to alleviate pressure that you might get on the bottom of your foot from the downward pressure that the crisscross lacing system puts on your foot. So the first thing you do is you take the laces completely out of your shoes. And on the inside of your shoe, you start by feeding your lace through the very bottom hole. And like you normally would, you want to make sure that your lace ends are equal. Then, with the inside lace, you skip the next hole up, and from the inside, you go through the third hole. Then you go across and over to the adjacent hole on the outside of the shoe, and you're creating a straight line instead of a crisscross. Then you continue that up. So you skip the next hole, go to the next one up from the inside out, cross over and back through that adjacent hole. Because I only have one hole left, from the inside out, I'm just going to put it through right there. Now you do the exact same thing with this shoelace. You go from the outside in at the very bottom, pull it through. Now, like we had the issue up here where you had one hole left, and I can't go up two holes here, I just go out through this first hole. Pull it through, across and over, pull that through, you get a straight line. You want to make sure you go underneath the lace that's already across. Go up one, push through, and across. And you just do this up the entire shoe. Now, you've created straight laces all the way up. And that will help keep your foot in your shoe, secured in your shoe, but it's not going to be as tight as a crisscross. And there you have it. So this next technique is to help prevent your heel from slipping around in the back of your shoe. And it's a really simple technique that utilizes these extra holes that none of us know what to do with. But there's a purpose for them, and that purpose is to create a loop with your laces. And what you do with those loops is you actually create a way to cinch down your laces when you tie them. So what you do is when your foot is in your shoe, you cross over like you normally would, but you come through that loop that you've created. And what this does is it allows you to use this as an anchor to keep the top part of your shoe really tight, and it pushes your heel back into your shoe to help it from sliding around when you run. The important part is you need to make sure that when you go to tie your shoe, you don't pull up towards you, you pull down. And when you pull down, it tightens these loops and cinches down across your foot. Then you just tie your shoe like normal, and you have a secured lock knot to prevent your foot from moving around. There you go. Now this final technique I found really interesting because I had no idea I was doing it wrong ever since I was a child. But I don't know about you, but my shoes always come untied. And it's not because of the laces, and it's not because I didn't cinch them down as tight as they could be. It's because I was doing my knot wrong. And it reminded me of something that a doctor taught me when I was volunteering in an ER, when I was watching him put in stitches. And that was a doctor, when they put in stitches, always creates a box knot, which means that they cross over one way and then they cross over the opposite way to lock in the stitch. And that's what I've been doing wrong with my laces. I always come from behind and through, and then I make my loops and tie it. But what you notice is it instantly starts rotating towards the front of the shoe. And that's because both those knots, or both those twists that I put in there, are going the same direction. And what it does is over time, it just causes itself to loosen and come untied. So it's really hard for me to do after all these years, but instead of crossing from the back to the front like that, I have to go from the front to the back. Now, this twist in the lace is the opposite of what I'm normally used to doing. Then I continue tying the same way I've been doing my whole life, but what I've done is I've done opposite twists in my laces, and now you can see this lace is straight across my shoe. It doesn't twist, it stays how I put it. And the nice part about this is the more you run, the more you move, the more this cinches up and actually tightens itself, preventing it from untying while you're in the middle of an activity. So it basically prevents you from ever having to stop and retie your shoe again. So that's technique number 3. Well, I hope in sharing a new technique I learned for lacing and tying my shoe to help me and my discomfort showed you that there are other ways than what you're used to lace and tie your shoes to deal with multiple issues that you may have while running. Well, my search started on Google, but there are many resources out there, including running stores in your area, which I'd recommend if you want to learn some new techniques. Hopefully I can bring you some other hints and tips down the line, so keep watching, because as you know, 2015 is the year I got the runs.